They said your skies will burn for 1,000 cycles. The voice boomed from every screen on Earth. It wasn't the kind of voice you could ignore, deep, menacing, like it had gargled thunder, and was now personally disappointed in you. But the problem was, the lighting was bad. The shadows behind the alien looked fake. The background looked like someone had slapped a green screen starfield together on a budget. By the time the alien hissed, "You will surrender your oceans, your skies, and your lives," social media had already declared it the best marketing campaign of the year. Hashtags like #AlienNetflix and #WorstCJever were trending within an hour. One viral post read, "If this is the new Stranger Things season, I'm in." On a late-night talk show, the host leaned into the camera and said, "To the scary space guy threatening us, bro, blink twice if you need a better scriptwriter." Laughter erupted from the audience, and the clip hit 10 million views before sunrise. Even the government wasn't taking it seriously. The Prime Minister of Canada tweeted, "If anyone's abducted, please tell them to bring back Tim Hortons." The President of the United States joked, "Aliens, if you're listening, we only negotiate with snacks on the table." The alien threat escalated. New broadcast, more dramatic. "We are the Dominion of Varric. We will erase your cities. Your people will tremble." But the translator AI kept glitching. Halfway through, it froze, then replayed the warlord's face with what sounded like a hiccup. "Your people will emble." By then, TikTok had flooded with remixes. One had the hiccup perfectly timed with a bass drop. Another edited the alien holding a rubber chicken. News anchors laughed through their reports, trying to explain that the so-called invasion was actually probably some viral prank campaign. And then they came. On a Tuesday afternoon, every TV and phone in the world lit up with a live feed from orbit. Massive ships slid into view, blotting out the sun in places. Their hulls shimmered black and silver, studded with weapons that looked like they could tear a planet apart. The voice returned, "Humans, witness our power. Surrender or perish." In Times Square, people clapped. Tourists pulled out their phones. Street vendors set up alien landing hot dog carts. A group of guys in inflatable dinosaur costumes began waving at the sky. When the first ship sent down a glowing projection of what appeared to be a three-headed serpent, kids immediately ran toward it to take selfies. "This is amazing," one shouted. "It's like Comic-Con, but free." The serpent roared. A toddler roared back, holding up a Spider-Man plushie. The Dominion of Varric had studied over 100 civilizations before Earth. They knew fear. They knew submission. What they did not know was how to handle a crowd chanting, "Do a flip," at their death beast. The alien commander, Sarnak, frowned from his flagship. His crew checked the fear index monitors. Instead of spikes of panic, they saw an upward curve in excitement level and #activity. The humans weren't afraid. They were entertained. Sarnak decided to intensify. He ordered the Planetquake Protocol, a low-grade tremor that should make the ground shudder ominously. Down below, tourists screamed, but not in terror. "Best ride ever," one shouted. People started holding up churros like they were at Disneyland. A guy even asked where to buy a season pass. Then came the sonic intimidation wave. It was supposed to induce nausea and disorientation. Instead, due to a calibration error, it played what sounded like whale songs at double speed. Entire parks stopped to listen. Couples held hands. "It's so peaceful," someone whispered. Sarnak's communications officer reported that humans were tagging it as #alien lo-fi beats. Governments still weren't mobilizing. Instead, they were selling broadcasting rights to news channels, which now advertise the invasion as the greatest live event in human history. Merch shops printed shirts reading, "I survived the Varric invasion, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." Back in orbit, Sarnak, second-in-command, asked, "Commander, what if they truly believe this is recreation?" Sarnak snarled, "No species can be this foolish." But the next human transmission proved otherwise. It wasn't a surrender. It wasn't a plea for mercy. It was a video compilation, humans staring into the camera, delivering what they believed were equally intimidating counter-threats. A man in a Lucador mask declared, "Earth will suplex you into the sun." An elderly woman waved a rolling pin and shouted, "Come down here and I'll make you wish you'd stayed in your space basement." A child sprayed a garden hose at the camera, yelling, "Earth super laser is ready." The Dominion had conquered worlds with fleets, crushed rebellions with precision strikes, and erased entire cultures from the stars. But never had they been met with this. Sarnak ordered Phase 2, direct ground contact. The humans clearly needed to see the real face of the Varric, the serrated fangs, the war-etched armor, the living shadows. This would end the farce. But as the massive dropships began to descend, humans weren't screaming or hiding. They were setting up lawn chairs. Whole blocks were grilling burgers. A brass band started warming up. Drone cameras buzzed in the sky to stream every angle. Somewhere in Los Angeles, a crowd held up a giant banner reading, "Welcome, Space Buddies." On board his flagship, Sarnak realized, with a sinking feeling, that he might have underestimated just how catastrophically wrong this mission was going to go. The first Varric warship touched down in the middle of Central Park, its landing thrusters sending a wave of dust across the lawn. The ramp lowered with a hiss of steam, and Commander Sarnak emerged in his full ceremonial armor, spikes glinting in the sunlight, cape flowing dramatically. Behind him, two towering shock beasts snarled, each with tusks like swords and eyes glowing red. The crowd erupted in applause. A man in the front yelled, "Nice cosplay, bro." Another shouted, "Where'd you get the animatronic dogs?" Several influencers were live streaming, narrating the moment like a red carpet event. Here comes the star of the show, giving serious Darth Vader meets Godzilla vibes. Sarnak stepped forward, delivering his most fearsome speech yet. "People of Earth, kneel before the—" Hold up, someone interrupted. A woman in yoga pants jogged up and shoved her phone in his face. "Can you say that again, but into my camera? My followers will love this." The war beast growled, baring their fangs. Children squealed with joy, rushing forward to pet them. One boy wrapped his arms around a leg and yelled, "I'm naming him Mr. Fluffy Tentacles." A little girl tried to feed the other one a hot dog. To Sarnak's horror, the beast accepted it. Trying to regain control, Sarnak commanded his troops to demonstrate their might. A soldier lifted a massive stone from the ground and crushed it in his claws. The humans oohed and awed, then immediately dragged a guy out from the crowd who smashed a bigger stone with a sledgehammer. "Earth's got skills too," someone shouted. Frustrated, Sarnak ordered the war chant, a guttural, rhythmic growl meant to strike fear into enemy hearts. But halfway through, the brass band that had been waiting nearby started playing along, matching the beat. Before long, half the park was clapping in sync, some even dancing. Sarnak turned to his second-in-command, whispering in disbelief, "They are joining in?" "They think it's music, Commander," the officer replied grimly. Then came the karaoke incident. A group of humans lugged over a portable speaker and started singing Bohemian Rhapsody over the alien chanting. The war beasts tilted their heads curiously, one even wagging its tail in rhythm. In a desperate attempt to reassert dominance, Sarnak raised his plasma spear high and declared, "You will submit to our reign, or—" "Hey," an old man called from folding chair. "You want a burger? You look like you skipped breakfast." Before Sarnak could reply, a paper plate piled with food was shoved into his claws. "Eat. You can conquer us after lunch." The aliens didn't know it yet, but they were being absorbed into the gravitational field of human hospitality, a force they had no defense against. Soldiers found themselves handed lemonade. Shock beasts were being used for photo ops. Sarnak himself was forced into a group selfie with someone wearing alien antennae headbands. From above, the fleet reported a disturbing development. Fear levels on Earth were now 0. "Commander," the analyst said over comms, "I believe they have adopted us." Sarnak refused to accept it. "No. Tomorrow, we challenge their leader to ritual combat. They will see the might of the Varric and tremble." He did not realize the humans were already making plans of their own. They weren't preparing a champion warrior. They weren't forging legendary weapons. They were holding a public poll on who should fight the scary spaceman, with Mrs. Thompson, retired kindergarten teacher, currently in the lead. By the time Sarnak returned to his ship, he couldn't decide which was worse, that the humans didn't take him seriously, or that he was starting to suspect they were doing it on purpose. The next afternoon, the Dominion's flagship hovered above a packed stadium. Every seat was filled, the air buzzing with anticipation. Humans waved signs like, "Go Mrs. T," and "Earth, undefeated since forever." Vendors sold t-shirts reading, "I survived the alien duel," and glow sticks shaped like laser swords. Commander Sarnak stood at the center of the arena, flanked by his honor guard. His armor was polished to a blinding gleam, his plasma spear humming with deadly energy. He expected Earth's champion to stride out in similar splendor. Maybe some armored warlord or battle-hardened giant. Instead, the crowd erupted as Mrs. Irene Thompson waddled into the ring. She was 73, wearing orthopedic sneakers, a floral cardigan, and glasses that slid down her nose every time she smiled. In one hand, she carried a large thermos of tea. In the other, a folded lawn chair. Sarnak's translator whispered, "Commander, this is their leader?" "She is not their leader," Sarnak growled. "She is their champion." The translator paused. "That's worse." Mrs. Thompson squinted at Sarnak. "You must be the fellow causing all this ruckus. You've got quite the costume, dear. You must be roasting in that helmet." She pulled a cookie tin from her bag. "Here, eat something before you pass out." The crowd chanted her name. "Mrs. T. Mrs. T." Sarnak tried to ignore the sugar-scented offering. "The terms are simple. Defeat me, and your planet is spared. Phelan." "Oh, good heavens, stop being so dramatic," Mrs. Thompson interrupted. "Are we fighting or having tea? Because I'm not skipping my 3 o'clock." The signal to begin was given. Sarnak lunged forward, spear raised high. Mrs. Thompson sidestepped lazily, not even spilling her tea. "Careful now, you'll trip in those silly boots." She set down her cup and began rummaging in her bag. The crowd gasped, then roared, as she pulled out a feather duster and began swatting at Sarnak's helmet. "Hold still. You've got cobwebs on you." Every time Sarnak swung, she was already somewhere else, chatting with a fan, offering lemonade to one of his soldiers, even stopping mid-duel to tell a group of kids to put on sunscreen. At one point, she bonked him lightly on the shin with her lawn chair. "You're tall, but you're not using your height advantage properly," she scolded. The audience lost it. People were crying with laughter. The war beasts, confused and now quite fond of hot dogs, sat down in the corner of the arena to watch. One of them yawned. Sarnak's breathing grew ragged. He was a warrior trained to fight under crushing gravity, to survive plasma storms, to face beasts that could bite through steel. But never had he faced an opponent who simply refused to take him seriously. When he tried to corner her, she handed him a cup of tea. When he roared in frustration, she patted his arm and said, "Inside voice, dear." The crowd began chanting, "Tea, tea, tea." And before he knew it, Sarnak was sitting on the lawn chair opposite her, holding a steaming cup. Cameras zoomed in on the image of the feared Vera commander, sipping chamomile with a human grandmother. His second-in-command leaned in over comms, voice trembling. "Commander, I believe the duel is over." "And oh, we lost." Sarnak looked around. His troops were eating cookies. The crowd was on their feet, cheering. Mrs. Thompson was waving like she just won a bingo night. And deep in his alien heart, Sarnak knew it was true. This planet was unconquerable. Not because of weapons, not because of strategy, but because nothing could survive the sheer, unstoppable absurdity of humanity. When the final cheer died down, Sarnak rose from the lawn chair, teacup still in hand. The crowd went silent, expecting some kind of declaration. He looked at Mrs. Thompson, then at the thousands of humans chanting her name, then at his troops, half of whom were now holding hot dog buns. He raised his plasma spear and snapped it clean in half. Gasps rippled through the audience, but before anyone could misinterpret, Sarnak dropped to one knee. The dominion of Varric surrenders to Earth. The stadium exploded in cheers, so loud the flagship's hull sensors registered it as seismic activity. Confetti cannons went off. Somewhere, a mariachi band started playing. Mrs. Thompson handed Sarnak another cookie, like she'd been expecting this all along. Back on the flagship, the surrender message went out to the entire fleet. Ships began peeling away from orbit. One pilot asked over comms, "Commander, should we log this as a tactical retreat?" "No," Sarnak said, still chewing the cookie. "Log it as a mercy. For us." On Earth, the news went wild. Aliens defeated by Grandma. Blared every headline. Memes flooded the internet. Pictures of Mrs. Thompson photoshopped onto movie posters for 300, Gladiator, and John Wick. She became an overnight celebrity. Talk shows begged her for interviews, but she mostly stayed home, baking more cookies in case the nice space boys came back hungry. The Varric left, but the galaxy didn't forget. Word spread fast. Earth wasn't a place you could intimidate. It wasn't just that they didn't scare easily. It was that they turned fear into comedy, war into block parties, and death duels into tea time. In the Galactic Encyclopedia, Earth's entry was rewritten. Earth class, laughing death world. Known for unpredictable natives who respond to intimidation with hospitality, mockery, and baked goods. Approach with extreme caution. Months later, bored thrill seekers from across the galaxy started booking trips to Earth. Tourism ads promised the ultimate test of your nerves. Try to scare a human. Starliner cruise ships landed daily, disgorging hopeful would-be intimidators, all of whom ended up leaving with t-shirts, full stomachs, and confused grins. As for Commander Sarnak, he was promoted, not for conquering Earth, but for surviving it. In interviews, he spoke only once about the incident. We came as conquerors. We left as well-fed guests. And I will never, ever challenge a grandmother again. Mrs. Thompson, upon hearing that, smiled sweetly. Oh, bless his heart. He's welcome back any time. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, alien warlords whispered about the one planet in the universe where the scariest thing was a human in comfortable shoes.